They probably think I'm the biggest jerk who's ever been on the show.
No, that would be Steven Seagal.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at every performer banned from Saturday Night Live.
It's crazy, though. I got to talk about some things. The daggone censors are following me everywhere around.
For this list, we'll be looking at the most notable hosts, cast members, guests, and musicians who were, at one point or another, thought to be barred from the sketch comedy series, either temporarily or permanently. Would you lift the SNL ban on any of these celebrities? If so, let us know who in the comments. The Replacements. In 1986, this alternative rock band was tasked with filling a last-minute slot as the musical guest on Saturday Night Live, replacing the R&B pop group The Pointer Sisters. So, in this scenario, the Replacements were literally the Replacements. While they had allegedly performed well in their dress rehearsal, a few too many drinks before the taping made all the difference. When it was time to go live, the band played off key and yelled out swear words. Their poor behavior and showmanship meant that they'd never see the 30 Rock soundstage as a band ever again. Louise Lasser. You never forget your first difficult co-star. On season 1 of Saturday Night Live, Louise Lasser of Mary Hartman apparently made history as the first person to be banned from the show.
It says, my good friend, Jack Nicholson, when it should be my new friend, and it's not Jack Nicholson. I don't know Jack Nicholson.
She claims this isn't true, but the rumor still persists. During her opening monologue, she was hard to understand and had an in-character nervous breakdown that seemed a little out of character.
Louise, we're on the air.
As the story goes, it was hard to convince her to participate in many of the sketches that were written for her. We may never know exactly what went down behind the scenes, but that was the last we saw of Lasser on SNL.
Thank you, everyone. Really, thank you.
System of a Down. Who would have thought that politically charged heavy metal and network television don't mix? Well, executive producer Lorne Michaels decided to give the band System of a Down a chance regardless, with some restrictions. They were given the green light to perform their song BYOB, even with its strong messaging. The band was asked not to curse during their set, but they refused to censor themselves. While the production team was able to bleep out the expected profanities, the band's guitarist, Darren Malakian, decided to throw in one last F-bomb. Needless to say, there was no coming back from that. Cypress Hill. Now, this is how you go down in a blaze of glory. Typically, a band being asked to perform on Saturday Night Live would be revered as a major opportunity to gain recognition from the show's massive audience.
What you looking at? Don't you know I'm loco?
Instead of keeping their act prim and proper to please the network executives, hip-hop trio Cypress Hill did the one thing they were asked not to do: smoke. No, we don't mean off in the green room. The band's DJ Muggs lit up right on stage during their set. But even though they're unlikely to ever return to SNL, their performance certainly went down in history.
We ain't going out like that. We ain't going out like that.
Shane Gillis. This comedian didn't even need to step foot on the stage before being asked to leave it. Leading to the show's 45th season, the cast was set to grow by 3, adding Bowen Yang, Chloe Fineman, and Shane Gillis as featured players. However, Gillis was quickly fired after racist and homophobic remarks were uncovered from his podcast.
Reaction was immediate and unfavorable.
Lorne Michaels' rep stated that the team wasn't aware of these comments at the time of his hiring and that they should have investigated the clips sooner. It's safe to say that Gillis won't be asked to visit Studio 8H anytime soon. Milton Berle. Move over, Berle, you're hogging the spotlight. On season 4 of Saturday Night Live, Milton Berle was invited to host the show, despite Lorne Michaels' hesitation. Coming from a background in vaudeville performance and having once been the host of his own series, it was understood that Berle would have his way of doing things.
It's a good audience. I'm really thrilled.
But when it came to be showtime, he doubled down on his difficult nature and completely disobeyed any instructions given to him. All of the little bits and gags that he threw into the show were unscripted.
Let me just put this here.
No, don't. That chair's reserved for the show.
Okay.
Giving the rest of the cast a hard time anticipating his next move.
You gotta believe me, there's nothing more thrilling than coming out and doing just one performance in front of a live, electric, in-person audience and to do a show live.
Robert Blake. One important rule for hosting Saturday Night Live: don't disrespect the writers.
Well, I'm doing all right. You know, for a guy who's got to work in Hollywood, I'm doing all right. Yeah.
During a rehearsal of his episode, Blake was given a script for one of the sketches he would be featured in so he could give it a read. After looking it over, he reportedly threw it right into writer and actor Gary Kroger's face and called him a few names while he was at it. Even still, he went through with appearing on his episode.
I've been gone for a long time. I hope I stay around for a while.
But nobody wants to work with anyone with such a temper, and Blake's antics are said to have gotten him banned from the show. Charles Grodin. This star's episode of SNL gave the audience a peek behind the curtain, and it wasn't so pretty.
This Chuck Grodin guy is really making me nervous. I mean, he's barely here all week, and he missed dress rehearsal. That's inexcusable. Dress rehearsal.
Charles Grodin's hosting gig was quite unusual, as the cast calls him out in the opening scene for missing his dress rehearsals, and they admit that he doesn't really fit in.
Studio audience? I didn't know there was an audience.
Well, maybe if you'd been to dress rehearsal, you'd know that there was an audience out there.
John.
The rest of the episode is similarly odd, with Grodin interjecting in sketches and performances seemingly out of character.
I could be cut.
Yeah.
I'm the host.
Yeah.
I thought it was going fairly well.
He even joins the musical guest, Paul Simon, dressed as Art Garfunkel. While many were convinced that this was a genuine performance by Grodin, it was later shared that these behaviors were apparently encouraged as part of his comedic persona. He even said he declined an invitation to come back. Regardless, Grodin never returned to SNL. Elvis Costello. Always stick to the script or the set list. Elvis Costello, a singer and songwriter known for making statements through his music, was a last-minute slot filler after rock band the Sex Pistols dropped out, and he kept the SNL crew on their toes. After starting to perform the scheduled song Less Than Zero, he promptly stopped his band and instructed them to start playing Radio instead.
I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, there's no reason to do this song here.
Radio.
He felt he needed to rebel against his record label's wishes, and temporarily got himself in trouble with Saturday Night Live in the process. All's well that ends well, though, as he later returned to Studio 8H. Frank Zappa. Not everyone is cut out for the hosting gig. Frank Zappa wasn't a total newbie at Saturday Night Live, as he had been a musical guest back in season 2 of the show. But when he returned a couple of seasons later to both host and perform, he just couldn't deliver.
It's an awesome responsibility being selected out of millions of people to become the banner of NBC's new look. God, I hope I'm good.
Nope, no edgy rebellion to make a statement. He reportedly simply didn't have the energy and attitude for the job.
This is a collection, an unauthorized collection of my latest sound patterns.
I, Beldar, approve.
Zappa also apparently wasn't keen on making connections with the cast or crew while he was on set, which made for an awkward show altogether.
Love your nails. You must be a Libra.
It's been said that he was subsequently blacklisted from appearing on the show as a result. Fear. Have no fear. Actually, maybe have a little bit of fear. California punk rock group Fear was brought onto Saturday Night Live to perform on their Halloween special episode.
South Street, Philadelphia. I'm from Avenue C.
As a true hardcore punk group, live network television standards weren't exactly up their alley. But former cast member John Belushi was a fan and vouched for them to be on an episode. This ended up being a horrible decision, as the group notably started a violent, angry mosh pit during their set. Their antics reportedly ended up costing SNL tens and possibly even hundreds of thousands of dollars in damages all across the studio. With that kind of price tag, it's easy to see why they weren't invited back. Adrien Brody. Always leave the impressions to the professionals. More importantly, leave them to the culturally appropriate professionals.
I'm so excited to be here tonight, you know? Yeah. Ah, you're hot.
Actor Adrien Brody made the age-old mistake that we've seen several of the hosts on this list make, seemingly going off script.
Guys, please. I only get one chance here.
With the musical act of the episode being reggae artist Sean Paul, Brody thought it would be funny to introduce him with a Jamaican accent while wearing fake locks in his hair. Obviously, he thought wrong. It wasn't funny at all. It was offensive and uncalled for, and he reportedly earned himself an SNL ban, though he claims to know nothing about that. Martin Lawrence. Let's keep it family-friendly. It's not shocking that some comedians struggle to clean up their act to perform on live TV, but their failure to do so still causes lots of trouble.
But damn it, now it's my chance. Ain't no stopping me now, I tell you.
Actor and comic Martin Lawrence went way too far during his opening monologue, making extremely graphic jokes about women and their cleanliness.
But I'm meeting a lot of women out there, and you got some beautiful women, but you got some out there that, I gotta say something.
Some of his statements were deemed so outrageous that they were later wiped from the episode altogether.
If you're not clean in your proper areas, I can't, kiss all over the places I want to kiss.
As you may have already guessed, these parts of Lawrence's speech are thought to have been improvised, and he got banned from NBC altogether for a time. Rage Against the Machine. These guys were set on sticking it to the man, even if it cost them future SNL gigs. Rock band Rage Against the Machine is yet another group that famously puts out politically charged music. So when the Saturday Night Live producers stacked them next to politician Steve Forbes for their episode, they were determined to take a stand. Prior to their set, they hung the American flag upside down from their amps. Crew members came out and ripped them down almost instantly, and the band was reportedly asked to leave the studio once they were finished performing. Steven Seagal. This actor was once titled the worst host ever by Lorne Michaels, which tells you everything you need to know about his apparent ban.
It's great to be here in New York, and it's great to be opening up Saturday Night Live.
But how did he do it? The short answer is he wasn't funny. A drama and action film star, Seagal was a hot celebrity at the time he hosted in 1991. But that didn't change the fact that he had almost no comedic instincts whatsoever.
Just a little something that I got overseas. I was part of the SKC unit when I was there.
He also had very little chemistry with the cast members and was said to have been critical of their talents as well. A great host needs to be willing to contribute some kind of material to the show, or at least deliver on what's written for them.
And perhaps the most interesting, a picture of you listening to the President of the United States on speakerphone as he reveals his part in the conspiracy.
Kanye West. There are very few performers out there that are more polarizing than rapper Kanye West. Having performed on Saturday Night Live 7 times as the musical guest, it looks as though he's a longtime friend of the show. But during a 2018 appearance, he decided to make an unprompted speech about his support for Donald Trump.
I'm gonna lay down like God did on Sunday. Hey, hey, hey.
This ruffled many feathers, but ultimately isn't the reason why he hasn't been back. The artist has since made a slew of aggressive comments towards Pete Davidson, aka his ex Kim Kardashian's then boyfriend. Though the claims weren't fully verified, there were rumors that this prompted a ban. Davidson has since left the SNL cast, but no word on whether West will ever be back.
I made this. Make Kanye 2006 again.
Andy Kaufman. This one may have been a bit uncalled for. Comedy legend Andy Kaufman was known for his odd sense of humor and out-there performances. Some folks just weren't fans of his work.
You want to see me dance?
His bits were always unique to him and his comedic sensibilities, but unfortunately, the reviews weren't always kind. This led to Saturday Night Live launching an on-air campaign. Should Andy stay or should he go?
We're going to let you folks at home be the ones to decide whether Andy will ever be seen on this show again.
To the shock and dismay of many, the people chose to vote him off the show. And so, he never returned to perform on the series again. Sinead O'Connor. What have we learned about being a good SNL guest so far? Be nice to the cast and crew, read from the script, and no politics. O'Connor came onto the show to perform her own version of Bob Marley's song War.
I've got to say war.
But she made it clear who the target of her performance was: the Catholic Church and Pope John Paul II. She brought the Pope's photo on stage and ripped it up during the song as a statement against child mistreatment.
Fight the real enemy.
This was obviously not a move approved by the Saturday Night Live team, who were flabbergasted. Her appearance wasn't well received, and it marks the end of her time at Studio 8H. Still, there's no denying she sent a message. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Chevy Chase. As a cast member on Saturday Night Live, you have to behave pretty outrageously to be banned from returning. Chevy Chase, who was part of the series from its very first season, is notorious for being a difficult co-star. Although he could be charismatic in front of the cameras, behind the scenes he was an absolute menace.
Good evening. I'm Chevy Chase, and you're not.
As such, legend has it he's been barred from appearing on the show in a meaningful capacity. He has had a few guest stints in the years since though, and Lorne Michaels once denied the show was on the outs with him.
Really great to be back here on Saturday Night Live. I haven't been here in, I don't know, days.
Still, Chase has been known to harass his fellow cast members and colleagues, leaving very few to be sad about his apparent split from the show. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.